Is it on the screen? Is it visible? So first things first, let us start extremely small and basic. How would you define a private cloud? Why I'm asking it, because perhaps when you started, there was no kind of private cloud kind of concept, maybe 20, as back as even 10 years back. So how do you define a private cloud, and subsequently, why would we want to endeavor on a private cloud journey?
Okay, so I'll take that question. So before we talk about private cloud, let us first start talking about what do we mean by cloud, because that is very, very relevant today. So when we are talking about cloud basically means as a service. Okay, so whether it be infrastructure, information infrastructure, or software, or backup, or say platform, or anything, it comes to you as a service. Now when we are talking about service, this service can come to you on-prem, it can come to you from the cloud, from the hyperscalers. When it is on-prem, you usually term it as a private cloud. When it is coming from the hyperscalers, you term it as a public cloud. Now in organizations across the globe, you have a word which is tickling everybody right now. It is known as hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is a mixture of the private as well as public cloud. Now one thing we have to be very sure about it, when we are talking about private means restricted within the organization. So if I have a private cloud in Wizertech, Wizertech's private cloud is restricted to Wizertech only. If there are XYZ organizations, say 5 or 6 of them, like Wizertech, if they are planning to use the same infrastructure or service from a different vendor who has his infrastructure or software uploaded onto the hyperscalers, that becomes something which is known as a public cloud. So the infrastructure is common. It is used by n number of people to run their own private cloud. So it can be a small private cloud which is hosted up on these hyperscalers. In that case, it is known as a off-prem private cloud. But at the end of the day, what you have to know is very clear. Cloud is a service. Anything that comes to you as in the form of a service related to IT infrastructure or IT software or services is known as a cloud. That is very crystal clear.
Okay. So fundamentally, what we can say is it's basically a data center service, including systems, processes, applications. It can be either owned by me, it can be mine, private, or it can be extended to me by somebody else.
Right.
So Pratikta, would you like to put some thought in it? Because maybe even 10 years or 15 years back, we did not have anything. I'll tell you a very interesting story. I went to an open source symposium some time back, and there somebody said there is nothing called cloud, it is somebody else's computer. So yeah, I mean, it is very much like that. So what has been your thoughts, sir? I mean, how data center has transformed from, say, a data center to a private or a public cloud or service or whatever you want to say?
I think data center, yes, data center has transformed, and I think some customers have been very cautious in taking drastic steps. They actually tried figuring out or wait and watch, and there are some customers who really very aggressively got excited by this new concept of public cloud and moved on to it. Some may be regretting, some are feeling justified in what they have done. But when just now Shona was talking about private cloud, from a private cloud perspective, I don't think data center would have changed majorly from a physical perspective only. But the way you see data centers have changed, I think, when private cloud comes into a traditional data center, because being as a service model, the way resources are utilized or procured are very different from the traditional data center perspective. I think that much change has come, which is a delta change, and I think which is not a disruptive change in nature, unlike the public cloud journey for customers, which has been disruptive and needed a complete reorientation of people managing IT in the organization. So I think that's the fundamental difference I've seen for customers who gradually move to private cloud. They're from the ones who directly jumped into the public cloud very early.
So, coming to the business side of private cloud, I have an understanding, or maybe what I have learned is, if we have to have an in-house private service.
Can't hear you, I think, Umesh.
Wait. Yeah, is it better now? I hope it is better. Yeah, thank you. Technology challenges. So, see, coming to the business part of private cloud, or so to say private service, there is an option that I can go and leverage the AWSs or the Megraj or the Control. And then the other side we have, I build my own private service. So how would one approach the money part of it, business part of it, justification that, okay, I need to build this or I need not to build it?
I think, Umesh, money comes in, I think, here as an outcome of the organizational approach. I don't know, with my limited experience of many customers, it was not the money which drove this decision. It was the philosophy and their maturity that drove the decision, and money followed. Whether money allowed that to happen or not is a different story, but money was not the primary trigger for this, because both are in essence an OPEX model for customers.
OPEX, I did not get that. Philosophy, I understood. Of the entity or the organization, that we should go private cloud or we should go public cloud. Of course, budget or money is not the primary concern. Correct. Philosophy or objective or vision, I will use it as synonym. What are the pointers which you think influence the decision on business front that मैं private cloud use करूँ, बनाऊँ कि नहीं बनाऊँ? I mean, what if you have some specific points on that?
Yeah, so I'll take this question. Umesh, the fact is that when you are creating a cloud, you create a cloud basically for faster action. If you are considering go-to-market strategy for an organization, that GTM entails the fact that you require a faster GTM. If there is just imagine, for example, a telco customer. A telco customer finds out that he is unable to roll out to more subscribers because of the fact that the competition is giving something at a very lower price and which is more attractive. So they need to, so this customer of yours needs to roll out a new offer. How will he roll out the new offer? If he needs to go through the normal process of invoking, say, buying a server, going in for installation of that server, doing this, doing that, he will take at least 3 months time. If he has an infrastructure in place, if he has a process in place, he can easily roll out people on that infrastructure within seconds. So faster GTM is the need of the hour. So if you look into people moving to the public cloud, people moved to the public cloud because they got scalability, infinite scalability. what they got was that they could easily roll out VMs, they could easily roll out capacity or network requirements onto the public cloud, and they could work on it. So these are business drivers which entail the fact that whether you want to go in for a cloud-like experience. Now, in typical organizations in India, there are budgets in place, there are approvals which are required, there is a process of purchase, so on and so forth. All these things curtail into a place which can give you the experience which you need to be competitive in the market, to get a faster GTM. Not only that, you get a better ROI and a TCO. So the ROI piece is better and the TCO overall is lower. So the total cost of ownership is lower and the return on investment is faster. So that is the cloud-like experience.
That is the cloud-like experience. But if I have to choose between a private and a hyperscaler cloud, how do I go about deciding the ROI?
Yeah. So somebody was speaking. Okay, so I'll take that question. That is a very relevant question. See, whether you want to go to the public cloud or you want to stay on-prem, it is a decision that needs to be taken. I have seen organizations across the globe over these last 32 years where people have moved their test and development environments onto the cloud, public cloud. Whenever I'm referring cloud, I'm referring to public cloud right now. They felt initially that if you are keeping it on-prem, the cost of infrastructure, cost of license, cost of security, cost of manpower, so many things are going to be much higher than being on a shared platform, which is the public cloud. But over the years, what has happened is people have realized that while ingressing data onto the cloud is free, while sending data to the cloud is free, egressing from the cloud costs you huge amount of money which you don't have control. Usually hyperscalers, they prepare the infrastructure in such a way that the initial costs remain low. There is a utilization factor. If you don't utilize the public cloud properly, if you keep the server spinning all throughout the day and night, the cost is going to be prohibitive. I had the privilege of working with one of the largest private, I am repeating the word private, insurance companies and health insurance companies, where initial thought process that they sent across the data onto the cloud, whether it be KYC data or their financial data, they kept it onto the cloud and they turned it out to be lean and thin on the ground. That saved initial huge amount of capex. But what happened over the period of time, over a period of 1.5 years, 2 years, was that whenever there was a KYC check, or whenever there was a data which needs to be brought down in terms of vigilance or compliance, there was a huge amount of bleeding which the customer had. So whether you choose the private cloud or you choose the public cloud depends upon the flavor that you want. And also the fact is that you have to understand that private cloud will give you something which is known as control. It will give you perhaps the same elasticity or scalability as in a public cloud. It will also give you the fact that when you are having the on-demand growth, you can easily scale up. You don't require a multi-tenant architecture for that, which is there in the hyperscalers. So the choice is totally how you do it, when you do it, and why you do it. If your perspective from a business angle is only to look into cost savings, then the ROI and TCO, if it is spread over larger amount of years or lengthier period, becomes much better in the case of a private cloud. Control is of essence. If you are not having control, then the fact is that You will never
Control over
ever want to go over there. So increased control you will get in private cloud. You will get enhanced performance in a private cloud. You will get predictable costs in a private cloud.
predictable.
Right, that is very important, and it is on the edge, right? It is next to you in your data center. But yes, if you ask me, public cloud also gives you some benefits, right? Otherwise people wouldn't have gone over there. It gives you increased agility.
I had one experience some time back, not from a very
just
big
hold on. I have not finished too much. Just hold on. So it gives you increased agility. It gives you simplified operations in the case of a public cloud. It gives you an ecosystem of services. Like today, you are building an infrastructure on the AWS, and you have built the infrastructure over there. Now you want to bring in some software, and you want to run that software as a service on that. So that ecosystem of services is widespread in the public cloud. So this is a choice. There are best of both the worlds. But what you need to do is you need to choose meticulously. Over a period of time, what we have found out that people insist on being on the public cloud, then taking out some applications which do not bring in too much of data from the public cloud and push them onto the hyperscalers. So you have mixed environment. Now, yes, you can say.
Yeah. So one more thing which I have seen at a customer, they had their own small data center in place, and they were running their the ERP. I mean, people were accessing from multiple locations, and it was that. Now the business process they were handling is a structured business. It was a cash cow, regular revenue, things like that. Now when they diversified into another business, and they wanted to कुछ पैसा वैसा भी उठाया मार्केट से, and they wanted to leverage on an application which they were building. So what they did deliberately, that entire part where they had taken the money for the business, which was they were trying to get into that business, that the entire IT part was hosted on public cloud. So but nature, I asked him, why is this decision? Why, if you have a data center in place, why are you not doing it? So he said that, look, again, he said that of course scalability is there, but tomorrow if the thing sinks, then I would not have my money already blocked in certain amount of infrastructure or certain amount of IT expenditure in place. Tomorrow if that company does good, if that particular venture does good, then and it starts generating positive ROI, मैं उसका सारा data, सारा IT उठा के अपने existing private cloud या private cloud को scale करके उसमें डाल दूंगा. But as long as it is burning cash, they don't want to put it in their own data center.
No, the concepts have changed, Umesh. The concepts have changed over a period of time. So what you are talking about is CapEx, capital expenditure purchased by the customer. There are options available which talk about OpEx from different vendors today, irrespective of different vendors. When I'm talking about HP, Dell, IBM, everyone talks about an OpEx model. And they if you're speaking to HP talks about GreenLake. GreenLake is the private cloud on-prem flavor. If you are going to, which gives you an OpEx model. If you are going to Dell will talk about APEX. APEX is the financial modeling which renders them the private cloud experience on-prem, and billing is on every month. So see, it is a choice. If your infrastructure is very less and your data is limited, then people might choose an option where I'll take an example. You have heard about Tata SIA, right? It is Vistara, basically the erstwhile Vistara. Vistara, I had met the customer about 5 years, just before COVID, when I was stationed in Mumbai. The organization has everything on the cloud. They have only 3 manpower, 3 people posted in the Kolaba office, and those are managers who handle the show. Now these people, they have their infrastructure on the cloud. It is very relevant for them because they do not have to bring in too much of bulky data down from the cloud. But if you have an organization like National Insurance or Aditya Birla Financial Services, where data needs to be brought down, there is analysis which needs to be done. They will never ever prefer going up to the public cloud. So it's a choice. Life is all about choices, my dear.
Yeah. So basically, the factors which decide the businesses will factor. I mean, it will be case specific. It cannot have an umbrella rule where it can apply
Right.
everywhere.
Right.
Right.
I think we are talking about we actually get to the business. You see, Umesh, this customer example that you gave, he never gave priority to the nature of his activity. He talked about cash flow, cash availability. When he will have sufficient money, he will erase some of his things back. I will give a very non-ideal example. My colleague Shona, his job nature is to go out every day for he makes 4 or 5 customer calls. The locations are unknown. Okay, he owns a car because he has to go to 4 or 5 places every day. I come to office 4 days out of 5. Out of 5 days, 4 days, my routine is morning come to office, evening go back. Okay. Now our transportation needs are very different. He is heavily dependent on his car because he has a defined schedule of erratic routes. I have a defined schedule of a very static route. What I use a Uber shuttle. What I am doing is because I have a specific this thing, or I have unknown usage needs for vehicle. When I use Uber, I am not owning a car. I am not spending money on garage space. I am not blocking my money on the capital cost of a car. Okay.
Right.
What drove this? The need was not to save money or save garage space. I analyzed what my transportation needs are and accordingly figured out the best financial solution also. Similarly, Shonak figured out that his is not a defined route. He needs a car every day from 9 to 6. Very defined usage, but he has to travel to multiple locations. He needs a car because Uber shuttles are not available in all those routes. So he uses a car, though it means blocking money in his car, blocking a garage space and its range, but his overall TCO is still lower considering the usage. So that is what I think many of us miss out. What is my IT like? Am I a steel plant or a metals manufacturing where my IT is maybe very heavy, but it is defined. It has a very predictable journey. Or I am like a telco that you gave an example, or a airline where I am in a market which is highly volatile. Things are changing very fast and I need to react very fast to ensure that my businesses are live. And my requirements of IT may expand or shrink very fast.
Depending upon the base.
I think is something often many customers miss out to assess what their IT is and accordingly then take the other aspects, which are many other aspects like security, like customization, like cost and all that aspect. But first let me assess, am I fit for a public cloud or private cloud? My IT, what my IT demands. And in this whole other parameters, you often forget what my existing IT is like.
So the journey on a business front, first thing is to be decided is to evaluate, assess what I have, where I want to go, and in that there will be multiple factors which will come into place, and based on that a decision can be made. Basically, it is not a thumb rule driven, it has to be case to case, specific case to case driven, right? So that brings to my second question: what is a private cloud? The business need for it, which I understood is perhaps it's not very case specific, but it's kind of coming back to the most important or perhaps the heart of the discussion. What are the key technical aspects or decisions, technical part, which we need to focus once we have decided that business front has decided that we might explore the private cloud. So coming back to you again, so how would I go about finding out that what will be my technical part of the discussion.
Yeah. So see, if you're looking into IT infrastructure, this my answer will be not a short one. I will take about 4-5 minutes. Spare me that time, please. So see, when you are looking into a request, see how does the requirement come in? The requirement comes in from business. IT is always a backseat within an organization, right? They're enablers of business. So business or the MD within the organization dictates as to what his vision is. And based on the vision and the achievements he wants in a short term or a long term, it comes down to the business, and business works according to that. Now, when it comes down to business also looks into enablers, which is IT, which is finance, back office, so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to IT, if the essence is competitiveness, how fast I can roll it out, how do I want it? So whenever you are talking about these figures, people will automatically talk about automation. People will, if you are looking into the 3 parameters of people, process and technology, people will always find pleasure, business will find pleasure in working out the process and the technology piece instead of going in for people dependence. So in the infrastructure today, you will have applications, you will have platforms, and you will have infrastructure, right? This is typically the layout. So if you are having an application, applications might demand monitoring, they might demand content publication, they might demand collaboration within different applications, communication, so on and so forth. There will be platforms, you have identity management, you have runtimes, queuing, databases, so on and so forth. But what is the most crucial part is, whatever things I have talked about are mostly intangible, or you can see it. When you are using it, you can see it. But there is a very, very big component, which is the infrastructure. How you are laying out the infrastructure within the organization and how you are looking into your future needs coming in from the business will actually dictate how you are going to roll out the experience. Because as I mentioned in the initial stages, cloud is a service. It is all about the experience piece, right? So if say in traditional organizations, you had traditional infrastructure within organizations, you will have a compute infrastructure, you will have a storage infrastructure, you will have a network infrastructure. People are moving away. So these infrastructure, you need to build it. So if you're building an infrastructure, you will take time, right? Logic says you will take time. Now what is the other option available today? The other option is you buy the infrastructure. If you buy the infrastructure, you get compute, network, storage, everything in one piece. And that is the concept which is behind ACI, hyper-converged infrastructures. So whether you be on the 3-tier architecture or you be on the hyper-converged infrastructure, the essence again over here is whether you want to spend time buying it and creating the best of breed, or you want an ACI infrastructure which will be coming to you ready to start, ready to initialize in no time. Right? Because interoperability is of the essence and it is established. Now, once you have done this, once you have chosen whether you want to go in for a 3-tier or in the ACI architecture, you have created your infra, right? You will have operating systems, you will have virtualization engines. Now, once you run virtualization on top of the 3-tier or the ACI, you get a virtualized infrastructure. But it doesn't give you the service of auto spinning, self-portal, this, that, so many things that you get on the cloud, right? Cloud means public cloud. So you build a layer on top of that, which will give you the experience of IT infrastructure as a service. That means I want a VM. On that, I will send across an email to my IT team, tell them, boss, please spin a VM for me. So I will tell them, I will write it. So this is infrastructure as a service. Okay? Because the service is being rendered by the IT team. Now I don't want this email to go. I said, boss, what is that person from the IT team doing? The IT team person is helping me automate, is helping me create something which is something I want. So there is a service component involved. I say I don't want that. I will build across a layer of automation and orchestration and a self-service portal, and I will get IT as a service. So in that case, what I will do is, in my private cloud, I will have a portal where they can request resources on the VM. I will say I request so much of VM, so many CPU VMs with so much of memory and so much of capacity, and I'll send across a request on a click. The moment I send it, it will go to the manager. This Shonok needs this. It is justified. Once it is justified, it will just go to the finance team. He will check the budget and give the approval. Once he approves this automation process, once he approves, the request comes back to the infrastructure. I mean the hardware infrastructure, and it is that VM with those specifications is automatically spinned. And I get. So my service, which was earlier infrastructure as a service to IT as a service, these are requirements which are dictated by the business, which are dictated. So if I look into that infrastructure from the IT side, not from the user side, from the IT side, I will try and find out that, boss, okay, I have my graph showing that this particular infrastructure is 70% utilized. I might have a requirement by the end of, say, Diwali, where I require more resources. I will initiate the process of purchase and plug in more resources over here. So that is a process which the IT team, IT manager, as I was mentioning, Vistara, that IT manager, IT head sits over there and finds out that, boss, I will need more resources, so I'll have to go through a budget process, approval process. That can happen at the back end, but the spinning and the go-to-market and the competitiveness increases. So that is how it is built.
So one factor or one requirement, I will say, factors and requirements would be what kind of applications would be used, what kind of platform would be required, what kind of infrastructure would be required, and these things would eventually be again dictated by the business motive. Is it right?
Yeah, 100% right. And if you ask me, Umesh, personally, my endeavor over this last 32 years of my IT industry experience has always been to try to understand what the customer needs, the business challenges, then mapping the business challenges onto the business needs, then collaborating with the IT to find out what are the IT challenges and corresponding IT needs. So once you understand these things, the business needs and the IT needs, if you can establish a handshake between them, then you get the business outcome which the customer will always want. So IT needs,
when you say IT needs, business needs, I can understand being a city. IT needs, what do you enumerate? What would you enumerate? IT needs.
Yeah, it's very easy. So you are having you say you have 10 servers, you are the IT person, you have 10 servers and you are running individual Windows data center licenses on top of them. You don't have an ACI infrastructure, if you have applications being rolled out, and my business needs say that I have to be instantaneously scalable. Will you be able to establish that? You will not. So your need is essence is that you will require more servers. So if you create a private cloud over there using some methodology, whether it be ACI or free tier, then you can give in the scalability. So that is the IT need, because IT needs to match the business need. Then only the outcome will come in.
So typically banks are at the frontier of technology need. But the latest technology coming in, banks are the ground. Banks are the places where they want to explore. I'm not talking about public cloud, but I'm talking about any kind of new technology which is coming in, information technology. Banks definitely adopt it until unless there is a regulatory problem. But still, usi bank mein, somewhere people are strongly using mainframe. and that mainframe system is still working fine, and they are not willing to है ये अभी तक चल रहा है. और मैंने देखा है mainframe equipped IT professional, they are happily employed.
I'll give a technical answer to it. See, mainframes were built not to go away. Let's be very clear on that. If you check across CIOs and CTOs across the globe, there are 40% of them who still insist that mission critical applications which needs to run on mainframes. There will be, so if you are referring mainframes, I will not only talk about mainframes, but I will talk about applications like core banking, core insurance, right? These applications will always be on-prem and they will always remain where it is. I will give you an example of the largest manufacturing company in India, one of the largest manufacturing company, which has lakhs and lakhs of crores of revenue across India. This organization still uses a software which they cannot afford to run without on a mainframe. Okay, if you are talking about IRCTC or Indian Railways, you cannot expect Indian Railways to run that application on SERI, because any application moving out from a mainframe requires several things. There are 7 R's. There are 7 R's. There is a refactorization. There is a reauthorization. So just check across the Google part, you will find 7 R's. At times they talk about 6 R's, refactoring, reforming. So there are several R's. So you need the application to move out. I had worked in a project wherein this IRCTC handheld device that we use, and IRCTC, there was a link there was an API which was created on the mainframe of Indian Railways, such that people can use it on the web. Right? Okay. So, but did that stall Indian Railways from moving out away from the mainframe? Applications which talk about, you cannot expect Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange to work out of mainframes or tandem servers, right?
Okay.
So that is the way like. Similarly, you cannot expect core banking applications to run on the public cloud. They will always require a separate infrastructure, because that is mission critical infrastructure. That is the mission critical application which actually dictates your share value on the stock exchanges. You can have business critical applications like email, O365, such and those applications which you can think of moving on to the private cloud or public cloud. But the applications that 40% of the applications which are there in your data center, you will never ever dare to move it onto any of the clouds. You will always keep it safe and simple. It is very easy. It is like OT. There are 2 parts to manufacturing organizations, right? As defined by Industry 4.0. It talks about IT infrastructure. It talks about operational technology infrastructure. Move on to the cloud, private cloud, segregated, this, that, so many things, right? OT will never ever move, because that is the demand of the business.
Critical or business critical? Mission critical will stay on premise, stay simple, stay robust, secure, which is also OT, operations technology and stuff.
No. Operation technology is, so in a manufacturing organization, you will have OT working till the time the producers are manufactured.
Correct.
Once it is manufactured, the information will move to IT. Works are made in such a way that OT information can come out to IT, but IT information cannot go to OT. It's all 40% will always remain on-prem, and it will remain restricted.
Mission critical, business critical requirements. How
your business? Simple. Okay. When I am talking about running your business, means I am saying that they are earning revenue for you. They are like SAP in an environment. You might come across a situation where you might come to me and say that SAP is now running on the cloud. That is the model, because that is a software as a service model which they have chosen. They have gone into an also SAP, the way SAP used to behave when it was implemented 25 years back, when you had SAP R3 version 4.6, 4.6C or 6CE, when you had those things, in those times they were customized to a large extent. Now SAP customization is very limited. That is the reason why they can move into a multi-tenant SaaS environment. So these options are there, but that is not earning. So you cannot have Tata Steel strip mills or the cold rolling mills being stopped, because if that stops, their business stops. Understood? So that is the way, like.
So maybe, not maybe, I think business output, business aspect and technical aspect go hand in hand. Perhaps most of the time the technical aspect will be driven by the business aspect. Anywhere the technology aspect drives the business aspect. Of course, existing scenario mein, when technology is the business driver, in that case we have business around the technology which is there. Taking the next step, having got an idea about, though I want to delve much deeper into it, but again it is, I believe, is very case specific. My technical aspect of the business is more often than not driven by what business I am in. Getting a bit more into the technology part, scalability or automation, इसको private cloud में how scalability will be required, be it private or a public cloud. In public cloud, the demand for scalability goes humongously high. But scalability, how do we achieve scalability in the cloud or in the private cloud, which we do?
So one thing which is interesting is when this public cloud momentum began, one of the key reasons I remember was typically the database application and 3-tier environment. One challenge customers used to face is that I'm growing over time and I don't have a headroom in my resources. So the problem is either I have to replace my existing infrastructure, or I need to buy infrastructure with a lot of headroom, keeping in mind future consideration. And this, to come out of this dilemma, many customers gave public cloud or hyperscalers a very serious look. But what has happened in the last many years is, in the same business computing where only vertical scaling was the only way to grow, we have seen emergence of newer theories around virtualization, technologies around virtualization, Kubernetes, hyperconvergence, container services, which has now ensured horizontal scaling in business computing. And this is again one of the reasons why private cloud is back or growing faster, because one of the key criteria that pushed many to hyperscalers was scalability and unused capacity because of future growth. Now customers don't need to buy unused capacity. They can buy as much as they need and keep scaling horizontally. So this is one of the reasons which is, I think, a major driver towards private cloud and has taken that pull away from public cloud. And the other thing is, with many technologies that some of the leading players in the industry are coming out with, automation has become a lot more simpler and non-complex for IT administrators, like moving workloads seamlessly. We had those in the Unix world for a very, very long time. But unfortunately, with Unix slowly going out of, similar technologies across platforms are coming in from third-party software OEMs, who are ensuring that all the automation required to match up to that versatility of public cloud can be procured and run in a private cloud environment. So I think these two developments, one around hyperconvergence and containers, and the other around automation, is driving a lot of private cloud growth. And unless a customer really has a very abrupt, it is predictable, stable growth many customers are today actively considering private cloud over public cloud.
Scaling up means factoring in for the future requirements. Factoring in for the future requirements means buying the significant capacity now. Okay, technologies like HCI or virtualization platforms can help optimizing. But again, इसका मतलब eventually it comes down to like if I have to scale very fast, then I have to have some extra capacity, production capacity in my house right now. तो स्केलेबिलिटी का मतलब ये भी हो सकता है कि एक्स्ट्रा मनी स्पेंड बिकॉज मेरे को कैपेसिटी एक्स्ट्रा रखना है. क्लाउड में ऐसा, पब्लिक क्लाउड में ऐसा नहीं है. टुमारो इफ आई वांट टू इंक्रीज माय यूजर बेस से फ्रॉम 3,000 people to say I need to hire again 2 more thousand people, that scalability becomes very easier in private cloud, public cloud. But private cloud में if I have to have spurt of growth, तो मेरे को एक्स्ट्रा कैपेसिटी रखना पड़ेगा. इसका मतलब एक्स्ट्रा खर्चा.
आपको एक्स्ट्रा कैपेसिटी रखना होगा, लेकिन उस खर्चा देना नहीं पड़ेगा.
लीज आउट
Purchase is something different. It is a financial model. You can have a hire purchase, you can have a leased purchase, right? There is a new concept which has come in over the last almost 4-5 years in India as well as other places. I had referred to you GreenLake from HP and Apex from Dell. So these are models in which they will pump in more capacity. There is a commitment to the capacity that you want. So there is a regular billing which they will do on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. And then what will happen is there will be extra gear on the floor for which you don't need to pay. You will use it and you will pay for that. There are plenty of options. There are plenty of options which are available. As Pratik initially mentioned, finance or money comes at a later point in time. First is the need. If we understand the need, break down our head and try to find out how we meet that need, finance in different forms can follow.
One name which I could think of was Ansible. Other than that, automation at the level which I can have in my private cloud, which is as good as the public cloud.
It's a tool or an office or an open source software set which you can always use for simplified provisioning, configuration. But these features are already built into HCI, and so if you take, for example, VMware of the world, right? Or say Nutanix. Nutanix has the concept which is known as Nutanix Cloud Foundation. You have a concept which is known as VMware Cloud Foundation. These give you already inbuilt configuration management, simplified management, automation, orchestration, and all these things. Today, if you look into these two hypervisor layers that I talked to you about, or say in that case Microsoft Hyper-V. So if you look into three of these, VMware, Nutanix, or Azure, which you can either use to virtualize and build a cloud. So they have two flavors each. If you buy a Windows data center license, you will get virtualization. If you buy VMware validated virtualization, if you buy Nutanix cloud management and NCI cloud infrastructure, you will get virtualization. If you require the cloud-like flavor, you will buy VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation, or Nutanix Cloud Foundation, or Azure Stack Hub, whatever you want. So these are
for last 20-25 years they have Control M, which is a workflow automation tool, complete file system automation tool. So there are many. Only thing is these have come out as buzzwords today. But in Unix, HP UX, I used to work with workload management tool, process resource manager, and multiple tools which people have been working. Only thing as buzzwords, these are new. But as for core IT people managing data centers, it's typically in the mainframe and Unix space, I think most of these concepts are very old concepts.
The second last part, which is how do we approach that? The public cloud, I mean, the day one they say, look, your data, your headache, I give you infrastructure, that is my problem. I will address that, whatever uptime.
I have to hack something. If I target hacking something, would I look at hacking Wizertech's private data center? or a hyperscaler's large data center, if I have to take the trouble of hacking, where my ROI
Right.
is more.
Hyperscaler.
From whatever Pratik said,
Mhm.
let us be very clear. Let us be very clear on the fact that if you are moving to the hyperscalers, then each and every hyperscaler will provide you hardware infrastructure and the OS that you require. Hardening of that is your responsibility. Running the software on top of that is your responsibility. Managing the data is your responsibility, because you are taking infrastructure from them. If you are worried about whether you want my data to be secured or not, then you have to look into an option of software as a service. But there are n number of instances across the globe where software as a service has also been hacked. See, it is always better to prevent yourself within the house, right? So it is better to be in the data center, protect yourself from external hacking. You will have different layers of building up the data center, right? You will have an internet line coming in onto an internet router. From there you will connect onto something which is known as an external firewall. From them you will come into the core switch. If you have a core leaf and spine leaf and spine architecture, you will spread it out. You will create MZ zones and DMZ zones. For the DMZ zone, if you have a web and application server running over there, you will have a WAF, right? Web application firewall. Then coming into the MZ zone, if you're coming into the MZ zone where you actually keep your data, you will have n number of protections. So it is more, you have controls. That is something which I mentioned earlier. You have control. If you have control, what will you do? You will prevent it better. Yes, there are misconfigurations which can happen outside, it can happen inside also. But the chances of having it inside is much lesser. Like data breaches and loss happens more outside. There is a compliance part which you need to take care of. Right? There are so many things. There are insecure APIs which are there, third-party API integrations which are there. So if you build a robust infrastructure, identity access management, and say if you utilize encryption, if you have secure socket layers, if you have VPN and so on and so forth, all your infrastructure is very well guarded. You can have air gap solutions which you can build to protect your data, right? All banks across India are mostly going in for air gap solutions. There are manufacturing units which are going in for air gap solutions. So if you have an air gap solution, if you have zero trust security which is implemented, though it's a myth and a concept which is there, but yes, implementations there's a framework which is built around about zero trust security. So if private cloud is much secured, on-premise environments are much secured, you have control, you have performance predictability, you have cost predictability, and everything is under control. Only thing that you are trying to avoid is the intervention of people and their brains. You just do an automation around it.
Coming to the last part with AI and ML.
This as AI ML workloads. AI ML as tools. AI ML as tools, I think it is not something anymore isolated in either private or public cloud. There are tools which are coming with certain AI certain machine learnings inbuilt, certain intelligences, be it artificial, be it virtual intelligences inbuilt, and both such sets are being used either in private cloud or by hyperscalers at a larger scale. So from a usage perspective, I don't see AI ML playing any decisive role around private cloud or public cloud. To me, I think that's not point of non-consideration. What I thought about this point, what about AI ML workloads that many customers are trying to run? From that perspective, I think that makes this case stronger for private cloud even more. considering the enormous resources that AI/ML computations require and the latency, I think it would be cost prohibitive for the customers to think of running AI/ML loads on hyperscalers, and also the latency factor, which is anyway always marginally more in hyperscalers than private cloud. So I think more we look at AI/ML, more the case for private cloud becomes stronger.
Let us not get into the fancy of AI/ML, but getting the things and work done. So thank you, Pratikda, Sonakda. I think it has been a very enriching discussion, and my takeaway is I am much more wanting to know than this learning session has left me wanting to know more. So nonetheless, I'll put some concluding points which I had. Private cloud offers more control, predictable costs, infrastructure, automation and scalability can be done as action layer, infrastructure, allotment layer, and it can be achieved not with and it can be definitely achieved with multiple tools and techniques. Other than that,
talked about three things. 3-4 things to be more precise. Being on the private cloud gives you secure access. It gives you accuracy control, predictable costs, fastest time to value if you have the scalability piece inbuilt into it, and also there is too much of talks around data localization and the proximity of the data. So that is something which will be only achieved when you are talking about the private. It has to be a journey. It is not one switch on and switch off, that you are there on-prem and now you have gone off-prem. It cannot be that. It has to be a journey. It has to be a steady process in which you do a proper application impact analysis, business impact analysis, understands all these things together in conjunction with the business needs, and then move your journey accordingly.
Thank you, Sonakda, Pratikda. This was perhaps one of the most complex discussions and technology which I had, because through the entire discussion I could never feel that I can make a template. I mean, I had many discussions, but I could never feel that I can make a template and perhaps try and generically use it. Every business scenario, every industry, every use case, small or big, it will require a detailed deep dive to understand the business, technology, then come up with a solution which may be somewhere on the excellent to poor bracket, and then through the process we can make it a solution.
Every customer is different.
Every customer, every need for a customer will be different, and everybody. So thank you, Pratikda, Sonakda, for giving your precious time, and thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Looking forward to